Welcome back to MMA Sucka Fight fans. My name is Nate Freeman. I'm joined today by Charlsey Maner, who is competing in the World Games 2022 next week with the Muay Thai U.S. team. Charlsey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I'm really excited to have you here in my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama, this coming week. Talk to me about how training's going and what exactly you're preparing for.
Training's going really well. It's definitely been intense. I mean, this is a world competition, so we've stepped the training up a good bit, which, I'm fine with. But yeah, it's going really well. And I'm honestly so glad to see the end of fight camp, and I'm ready to just get there. And, you get towards the end and you're like, okay, I'm just ready to compete.
No, I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I know that you're also undefeated 7-0 as an amateur in MMA, and you've completed in a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. What are you still trying to balance all three of those, or are you're going fully focused on Muay Thai right now as this is coming up, I'm sure?
Yeah, I did. I used to do MMA. I guess my last MMA fight would have been over a year ago now. But now I'm strictly Muay Thai, and I've been strictly Muay Thai. Even whenever I took that MMA fight, I was like not really doing MMA. I was mostly still just doing Muay Thai. So I've been doing strictly Muay Thai for about 2 years now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure if I'll ever go back to MMA. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But for now, it's Muay Thai.
Fair enough. And that this is something that you've been doing since you were a teenager. You just graduated from Clemson University in 2020, correct?
I did, yeah.
Oh, man. So you were there for a lot of their good football teams and all of that. So,
2 national championships.
Yeah, and being from Alabama, we know Clemson University really well. But how did you balance doing all of this training and, going all over the place? Because you've competed a lot in the Northeast, you've competed all over the country, and now you've competed all over the world. How did you balance being a student and doing all these competitions and training and all of that?
Oh, to be honest, it was really hard. I also had a job. So, I was training and working and doing school, and it was really hard. And honestly, I did put school second. I mean, I would do enough to make good grades and keep my scholarships, but always in my mind, I was like, okay, I got to hurry up and finish studying so I can get to the gym. It was never my number one priority. Sort of like fighting has always been number one for me. Even recently, I graduated college in 2020, and then I had a full-time job. I quit my full-time job. So now I'm just working part-time because fighting is my priority. It's what I want to do. So I'm going to give it all I can for now.
And what are you doing for your job?
Right now, I'm a server/bartender. So, I mean, it just works. My boss is awesome. He thinks it's cool that I'm pursuing this path, and everyone I work with is really supportive. So they let me take off whenever I need to travel, and it pays my bills. And allows me to train. So I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. Have you had any situations where, you're a bartender and all of that, where you've had to unleash some of your I'm sure you haven't had to unleash any of your Muay Thai skills or anything, but
no,
where people have been sort of, trying to intimidate somebody or something, and
fortunately I work it's like more of an upscale type of spot, so it's not like the crazy, bartending scene or anything like that. I mean, we close at 9:30, so it doesn't get too crazy.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then going ahead and looking at the tournament itself, actually taking a step back, getting into the spot where you are representing Team USA.
Yeah.
You won both of your fights by unanimous decision, 30-27. And in the finals, you faced Anna Toole, who
I did.
From the looks of it, you've faced her a couple of times. Yeah, and you've trained with her and all of that. So she's a very familiar face to you. Talk to me about, that whole process of qualifying and facing her in the finals and all of that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a great experience. It was different from anything I've ever done before. I mean, obviously, I was in Colorado. I've never been to Colorado before, and the altitude, everyone was talking about it, and I was like, oh, I don't even feel it. I've trained so hard, no way I'll feel it, but you definitely feel it in between the rounds. It was much harder for me to catch my breath, and I was just trying to focus on breathing and still staying focused on the game plan. But, yeah, so we actually were supposed to have another girl in the division, but one girl ended up not showing up, and, so that obviously made our pool smaller, and then my coach and I were saying not I mean, it's an honor. It has been a privilege every time I fought Anna, but it's crazy that we came all the way to Colorado just to fight each other for the 3rd time.
Yeah,
So
because
I
y'all are
think
both from South Carolina
we
as well.
are, yeah, and we have trained together, and I have nothing but respect for her, and I think she felt the same way when we were both like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe have flown, this far away from our home, and now we're facing each other again."
Yeah,
So
it's really that I found that really interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
you and me both, yeah.
okay, and now looking ahead into the tournament next week, give me your thoughts. Is there anybody in particular that you want to face? You didn't fight in the IFMA tournament like many of your
Mm-mm.
teammates on Team USA. Um,
Yeah.
so you haven't really faced any of these people in this international competition. Is there anybody that you're looking to fight? Is there anybody that you have on your radar at all?
Honestly, I try not to make, prejudgments on people because, I mean, I'm fully aware that these are the best girls in the world that I'm going to be going up against. And I understand that they have been doing Muay Thai for, a lot of them since they were walking. So I know they have, 100 plus fights or near 100 fights. So I've like kind of vaguely just like searched who I think might be, there, but no one who I'm like in particularly, worried about or anything like that. Because, at the end of the day, I'm just going to train as hard as I can. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to win. And it's still a fight. Like, it doesn't matter what your record is. I mean, we're in a fight. It comes down to like who's having the better day, who did the most to prepare. Like, there are so many factors that go into it. So I try not to get too wrapped up in, oh, this girl always does this and this girl always does this. I need to watch out for it. I need to, change my game plan to suit what they're going to do, because if that's the case, I'm just going to end up fighting myself versus fighting them. So I try to just, have a general idea and then I back away.
I'm sure you leave that up to the coaches to
I
do the
do.
research on who does what and all of that, especially with there being so many people in the tournament and
Mhm.
you still don't even know who you're going to face yet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
just
could
leave that up
change.
to the coaches. All you got to do is just go out there and punch somebody in the
Yeah, I
face.
just show up.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then looking at the rest of your Team USA teammates, is there anybody on your team that you're interested in watching compete? And then is there anybody in the tournament as a whole that you're interested in watching compete?
Oh, for
Because
sure.
I was talking with Aaron Clayton, and there's one fighters in one championship. There's a former champion in one championship, and there's a bunch of other really talented, really
Yeah.
decorated Muay Thai athletes around the tournament.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to me. Like, but yes, they're on Team USA, Aaron Ortiz. I don't know if you know who he is, but he competed in the IFMA tournament and won. And I mean, he's just a phenomenal fighter to watch. I mean, it just comes naturally to him. I watched him at the qualifier, and it was just like everything was so on point. I mean, he knew everything to do at the right time. So I really just love watching, people where it just seems like it just comes to them. Like, I mean, of course his coach was coaching him, but it was like, I mean, it came effortlessly. So I really enjoyed watching him. As far as, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the women fight. I mean, I love watching, obviously. I love watching women fight. And Tiara Brandt, she won the IFMA gold. So of course I'm looking forward to seeing her compete again. And she's on Team USA. So I'm excited to be on the same team as her. And I mean, really all the other women. I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. And it's crazy to me because, you know, if you would have told my younger self that one day I would be representing the US in a world tournament, I would be like, no way. So it's kind of, you know, a step towards making a dream come true for me. So I'm just excited to be among, you know, all the best in the world.
Yeah, and this is quite literally the biggest stage. This is only the second year that Muay Thai's been on the World Games, which is a big deal. But it is at this point like the Olympics for Muay Thai. And maybe one day Muay Thai will make it into the Olympics.
I know. I'm hoping for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping for it as well. So then how much communication and how much work have you done with the coaches for the US team? I know that I don't think that you train with any of the ones that were named or anything like that. How have you been communicating with them about everything, and like what is the game plan with them going into Birmingham next week?
Yeah, honestly, that will be a new thing for me because I know, you know, like you said, I have not done the international tournaments before. So, you know, a tournament on this scale will be a first for me. So, and unfortunately, I think due to the rules, you know, only the approved coaches, I think, are allowed to be in the corners, you know, which will kind of be a new challenge for me because, like, I haven't really been coached by these coaches before. And I know they're all phenomenal coaches and have, you know, crazy established records and things like that, which is awesome. But at the end of the day, they're not my coach. So we haven't, you know, like we don't live in the same state, not like none of us do. And so I definitely think it's going to be hard, like not having my, you know, my coach there with me. And I mean, I'm sure that, you know, these coaches will, of course, know what they're talking about and, you know, be able to guide me and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be a new challenge because we really haven't had a lot of communication as far as like, I mean, it's all been, you know, about, you know, paperwork and stuff like that we need to submit. Not so much like, okay, team, you know, this is what you're going to do, like type of thing. So yeah, it'll be an interesting dynamic for me to have to adjust, which, you know, I'm always up for, but yeah, it'll be a new challenge.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to seeing all of that.
Really
quick, I want to do just a few rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
So just to get to know you as a person a little bit better, and then a couple of questions about Muay Thai as well. One, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color is green.
Okay, your favorite book or movie?
My favorite book is a recent one I just read, For Sure, by Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your favorite fight that you've ever been in, and then your fight that you've ever seen.
Okay, so my favorite fight that I've ever been in was a recent one against Carmen Corchado. I'm not sure if you know who that is. She's one of the top women in the Northeast, and I fought her like over 3 years ago. You know, I was still very, very green in Muay Thai, and she beat me up so bad. And then 3 years later came back and I'm sorry, that's my dog. 3 years later came back and beat her for the women's 125-pound no boundary title. So that's definitely my favorite fight that I've ever been in. My favorite fight that I've ever watched, man, that's a tough one. I've watched a lot of fights. That's hard. I would say Janet Todd is probably one of my favorite people to watch. I mean, of course, she's phenomenal. And Jackie Boontan is another one who I enjoy watching. So really any of their fights are my, you know, top favorite women to watch. Not really one in particular that I have in mind. Janet Todd versus Stamp 1 and 2. Those are both great fights. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see Janet Todd fight here in a couple weeks for the inaugural Muay Thai title. Yeah. So that's really exciting. And it seems like she is a very much a a pioneer for U.S. Muay Thai.
She absolutely
sounds
is.
like, everybody that I've spoken to has mentioned her as, especially with the women, as someone they look up to. So,
I mean, it would be
shout out
so
to her.
cool one day to end up, in the same locker room as her or whatever.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
She, long time, she's been really good. So I am looking forward to seeing her fight. Just like I'm sure you are.
Me too.
Okay, so then what is your favorite strike to throw?
Oh, my favorite strike to throw is I don't know. My favorite sort of foundational strike to throw is a right body kick. I used to suck at throwing kicks. They were so horrible. I mean, I came up in karate, so karate is pretty much the opposite of Muay Thai. So I had to kind of like rewire my brain to create more power whenever I was kicking. So I've worked really hard to develop my right kick. So it's probably my favorite thing now.
Do you think that training in karate helped you find success in Muay Thai?
In some ways I do. I mean, it definitely, taught me like the foundation, this is how you throw a punch, this is how you block a punch type thing. But there are so many, Muay Thai is completely different as far as mechanics go. So like in karate, we would never spar with the intention of hurting our partner or doing damage or anything. It was always just to touch them and to show that, you could hit them, but it was just like touch point, point sparring type of thing. It was never like to inflict damage. So it was pretty hard for me to get out of the habit of that and to, versus with Muay Thai, everything should be thrown with the intention to damage your opponent. Like everything you do should be powerful or should be a setup for your next powerful shot. So it took a long time to sort of get that through my head and to like think, okay, like I need to throw this shot with the intention to end the fight or like, hurt them, stun them, move them backwards, that sort of thing. So it was a big shift from karate.
Yeah, I'm sure, but that's really interesting. That's a interesting crossover.
Yes.
So the cleanest shot you've ever landed, I think that you have a YouTube video of this.
I do.
So, but go ahead and set that up for me. I know it was, as Nick Diaz would say, some spinning stuff. So.
Yes, my favorite flashy move is the spinning elbow. So I hit it at the World Games qualifier and knocked the girl down, which was pretty cool. And then I also hit it in the fight against Carmen Corchado, which is probably the YouTube video that you're referring to. And also she got a standing 8 for that spinning elbow. And it's funny because we never train that. I never do spinning elbows really in sparring or hardly ever in training. And I don't know what it is. You just get in a fight and you just want to show all your tricks while you have time. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, we might as well.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay, before I let you go, the floor is yours to plug your social media, give any shout outs to sponsors, coaches, anything like that.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's interested in following me on Instagram, it's just my first name at Charlsey B_M. And then I just want to say thank you to all the people who have helped me get this far. I mean, it would take me forever to thank everyone, but especially my coach. I mean, he's put in so much time. His name's Mark Clem, and even though we train out of the UFC gym in Greenville, which I love all of them, his personal Muay Thai brand is Ba Muay Thai Sal. So if anyone wants to follow them, and then I want to thank all my training partners who have let me beat them up and beat me up in return over the past few weeks. And just my family, and they're always so supportive. They all think it's super cool, and unfortunately a lot of them won't be able to make it to Alabama just because, it's hard for them to travel and things are really expensive right now. But, they'll be watching and they're always supporting me with every single fight. So I'm just grateful for all the people who have helped me get to this point. So I hope I make them all proud in the next week.
Yes, and we're very much looking forward to seeing you compete. next week on the Olympic Channel, on olympicchannel.com, on the Olympic Network, in the lightweight division, correct?
Yeah, the 125-pound division. So what is that?
yeah. I know they do it in kilos, but we're American and we
60 kilogram. That's me.
So, but yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you compete. It's a very stacked division, and you are part of that stacked division. We're looking forward, like I said, to seeing you compete. And
thank you.
Best of luck in the rest of your training, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here in Birmingham.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, Nate.
Yes, of course. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.